Hey, this is David Haskins, the artist formerly known as Davey Rich, and you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D. From his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
Welcome once again to Live and in Color with Wolfie D, the Hall of Famer.
That's right.
My man Jimmy across the street, man. You know what time of year it is, don't you?
It is spooky season.
And I'm sweating balls right now because I'm out here building the ring for the skeletons from last year, and I'm trying to add a little something new to it this year. Got to upgrade.
Yeah,
because we were on this thing like something that's put out here in Somerset last year of houses you need to go visit for Halloween, and we were one of them. And so now I feel like I have to upgrade and make it even better because people are expecting shit from me now. And even my next door neighbor, his girl yesterday, when she saw me out there starting to put stuff together, she's like, "Oh my God, I love Halloween." And when I told people where I live, they were like, "Oh my God, you live next to that guy."
You're that guy.
Yeah, you live next to that guy. You're gonna love it.
How does it feel to be that guy, Wolfie?
Hey man, I just go for it in whatever I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but it is funny because like I could just imagine, that they see the wrestling skeletons and that's almost like, hey, Wolfie D lives here. It's
right.
like a big glowing sign. You know who lives there, right? That's that Wolfie D, Hall of Famer.
That Wolfie D guy. But yeah, man, so I've been starting on that. I started last night, went into the wee hours. It was dark out there. It was hard to see, but yeah, we started doing it last night and working on it today. So also in the world is a bunch of crazy shit happening. And God bless the people of North Carolina, man. You'd think, and not to take anything away from the people in Florida, they're used to it. And I don't mean to, again, not taking anything away from that, but North Carolina had no idea this shit was going to happen so far inland. And, we got some family connections there where there's thousands of people missing, dude.
Yeah, I know. And they're saying that this could be, and I know a lot of people have based this off of Katrina, which obviously was absolutely horrible. But, it's not really a comparison thing. But you're right. Katrina, they're kind of old hat. They know what to do. And they still got blindsided, So you put it that far inland into the mountains where everybody thinks they're safe. I mean, I remember as a kid growing up, because I grew up in all that area too, right in the Appalachian Mountains. Mm-hmm. And I would be like, Dad, do you think we could get a tornado? No, the mountains keep most of that away,
Absolutely. And you know what? I swear to God, there's a meteorologist that I follow in that area. And I asked the question to him, and this was before this, but I said, is there any science to the fact that when a heavy storm gets near the mountains that it breaks up? Because everything I've seen, it does, man. They're like, oh, this huge band of storms is coming through, but then when it gets to the mountains, it just dissipates. Right.
And I've been on the side of a tunnel, like going on 77 up through West Virginia. I've been on the side of a tunnel and it's like clear and sunny, and on the other side it's snowing, bro. I'm telling you. So there's something to that. And but it's the biggest thing is it affects the less fortunate of the people the most. In Katrina, that's what it devastated, the less fortunate people. In this one, Helene, whatever. I saw this video last night. There was an image from space, and it was showing the nighttime sky over the U.S. And there was a cut from basically the Gulf all the way up. So like from the bottom of Florida all the way up till the end of Virginia, that the power was off, and it was like a cut into the United States, man. So hey, I know a lot of people probably can't, in our listener land, can't go there and help, but if there's anything you can do, help somebody. If there's a GoFundMe, help them. Do something to help, and I think honestly that will help things. But they're saying, dude, let's just say this: had the Hall of Fame happened the next weekend, like had it been not the weekend it was, but the next, I would still be stuck on the other side. Now, again, I might have made my way.
I was just thinking, Spaceman. He lives in Asheville.
Oh,
and
gosh. How
he
was
runs
he?
Yeah, I talked to him. He runs a food truck also, and so he's feeding people. You know,
Awesome.
He's going out there and feeding people, man. He's doing what he can to do his part. So much respect to Spaceman John's, like for real.
Absolutely. But is he
and
good, though?
You know what else
like,
is
he's
funny,
good?
man, is that during Katrina, George Bush, they ripped him it took him 4 days to get down there and see it. And, he don't care about us, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? Your vice president that's running for president took her 6-7 days, I think it was, to go anywhere near North Carolina. So
because if
leave it at that.
It is political, and I'll say this. I don't care. It is political. I feel like that George Bush probably saw Katrina as Barack Obama land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, those are Democrats, whatever.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like they see that area as Trump country. And if anybody knows Asheville, it's the opposite of that, honestly. But the surrounding areas that got majorly changed, and there's towns that are gone forever. That's the sad part.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. It really is. Because, I mean, there's stuff that's just... there's no other way to say it than it's gone. It just Mother Nature is a powerful bitch. Literally. I mean, seriously, man. That shit, it's crazy to watch it, man. And I'm one of them people, man, too, that like I at a young age would swim out in the ocean far as I could. I'm a good swimmer. Blah blah blah. I appreciate Mother Nature nowadays, man. You won't catch me going out there that far. If it's past my knees, I ain't going, man.
No, man. Didn't you say you almost got took under in Puerto Rico one time?
Yeah, Puerto Rico threw me down. Yeah, spun me all around.
Bro.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, man, the people have been affected by the storm. It's awful. And if you can go out there and give, man, give. Because, I mean, it's hit close to home for me, even though, I'm a bit ways away. But I know people, and it's insane. And I was in Nashville during the 2010 flood.
Me too.
But thank God I lived on the 5th floor of one of those downtown high rises, an old one, but still I was on the 5th floor, man. And, I didn't lose anything, thank God. But a lot of people did, man. And you just can't imagine, like you see the pictures on TV and all that kind of stuff, but it's nothing till you see it with your own 2 eyes, man.
No,
it really is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thank God everybody's okay, and hopefully you'll find your loved ones, and we're praying for you. So
absolutely. Yeah. But back to it. Halloween season is coming. It's my favorite season, and so that's what I'm doing today. And I'm ready to get back out there and finish my wrestling ring and put my skeletons in there. I got some additions to this year. Like I said, I got to up my ante. Yeah, because I guess people are going to be coming by to see what's new, what's not new, and I can't just give them the same old shit, right?
No, you got to give them new stuff.
I got to do something different. So I got something in the works, man, and it's a work in progress. Last year I had it up before October the 1st. This year the rain, because of Helena, it wasn't helping me. So just getting on it yesterday, but.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Halloween, I think what I'm going to do this Halloween is I'm going to dress up like one of Tommy Rich's cousins or something. You think I could be Jimmy Rich? Do you think they would let me?
They're rich all the way. You could be Richie Rich, probably. I don't know.
Richie Rich.
Remember him?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Let's call you Richie Rich.
I would love that, actually. Can I just be him? But of course, I got to talk to Tommy, and he said his nice words. If you listen to the whole
fuck you and fuck Wolfie.
So, but we do have a cool guest today, man. I'm excited about it.
Man. Haven't spoken to him in a long time, man. And he's been around territory days, man, even before me, and I only got to be in the one, but he was there in the 80s and has some really, really good stories, man. I can't wait to hear them all because I know, you know what I mean? I know he's got good stories. He's been there and done that. And no disrespect to him, not a top guy, but fuck, he was there, man. And he's worked with everybody. Everybody, it's anybody he's worked with him. So this ought to be really fun, really cool. I know when I told him when we'd be calling him. He's going to be traveling with his job. He does a lot of traveling now, and so he'll be in his car, and we're just going to have a road trip with him, Jimmy. Let's jump in his back seat, man.
I think that's great.
Shotgun now. I got shotgun.
Okay, of course. You're the veteran. I'll pass out the beers or whatever, And we'll,
all right, man.
All
Roll
right,
the doobies, whatever.
Yeah, both.
All right, let's get him on the line, man.
All right, we'll be right back with Davey Rich, David Haskins after these messages.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hey folks, to get your official Live It in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, guys, we're back. Once again, you survived that commercial break, and we appreciate you hanging in there, because today I got an old friend, somebody I hadn't seen in a long, long time. I know him as David Haskins, but he's also Davey Rich, the gimmick cousin of Tommy Rich. David, what's going on, my man?
Hey, I don't know if I'd say it, but Tommy usually calls me his bastard cousin, but I don't know if we can say that.
Yeah, we can use that on here. We can say a lot worse than that on here.
Hey, you know Tommy, he don't mince words.
Yeah, I seen him for the first time at the Hall of Fame gimmick, and Jimmy was actually getting sound bites from everybody. And when I tell him, Jimmy, how it went, you walked up. I forget what was said, but I know what he said.
Yeah, so I just walked up to Tommy and I shook his hand and I was like, "Hey, Tommy, this is Jimmy from Live and in Color with Wolfie D. What are your thoughts on the Hall of Fame?" And I had a little recorder with me, and he kind of did a little sadi-da thing. He was like, "Oh yeah, brother," that kind of thing. And then, and then I step away from him. I said, "Thank you, sir. Have a good night." And all went well. Well, then I saw Wolfie kind of sitting near the entrance of the back stage area, let's just say that. And I go back there, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go grab Wolfie real quick. I was like, "Wolfie, what are you thinking of this?" And Tommy's kind of going off on him, so I lost it after that. You take it over, Wolfie.
he said something at the end there. He just goes, he knew he was being recorded, and he goes, "Yeah, and fuck you and fuck Wolfie D."
Well, let me tell you, man, I know y'all had a good time, and I either heard it or saw it on Facebook, and it was a quote from Wolfie D. "Hey, you better come because you may never see all these people." Yeah. And hey, that's the truth, man.
Yeah,
all of
absolutely.
our legends, all of our heroes are gone, man. I mean, a blink of an eye.
Man.
My whole career, I got, so many people that are gone, I mean? And it's really sad. I started out in Memphis in '84, and within the month I started, Tracy Smothers started, and Billy Joe Travis.
I was just going to say Billy. Like, I was thinking Billy while I was there.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, man.
Yeah, man. I know. It's crazy.
I mean, and Tracy, you don't get no better than him, man. I love Tracy. And
oh, yeah.
I mean, hey, it's been a few years. I lose track of the time, but man, we're all three sitting there just, praying for, Jerry Jarrett or Lawler or, Tom Ernesto. They had a few, Dundee, the different bookers who came through, hey, just give me a shot, put me over, It was a great time, man. I mean, with all the legends coming through, the Joe LeDukes and the Handsome Jimmies and the,
you were there. You started out at a really cool time, I would have liked to have been around back then, but that's just how it goes. But
you got in at 16, dude. You can't really start much.
Yeah, I know. You know what I mean.
Only Terry Gordy beat you. He started at 13.
Yeah.
Of course, he was 6'3", 290. So
right. Yeah. So, tell me about that. Like, what's I know the answer to this, but I think the listeners would like to hear your perspective on it. Like, just say the difference in the dressing room, like just how the dressing room was as opposed to how it was, say, even in the 90s and the 2000s,
Well, I was right in the change. When I started, there still had to be 20 territories. And, I had, Don Owen from Portland reach out to me. But when I thought, go to Portland, Oregon, and wrestle there, I just couldn't even fathom that. And, you come into the dressing room, and every single guy greeted you. It was just such a brotherhood. We were riding 4 or 5 to a car, and, it wasn't no limos. We had lemons. We were riding up down and, these junkers. And, I'll never forget some of the looks. One time, Johnny Rich called me and Scott Armstrong, and we were in a little town. I think it was Hazard, Kentucky. He goes, y'all get a ride up there. I got us a limo. We're gonna ride. I got a driver and everything. We're going to ride back to Knoxville. That's where we are all living. And he pulls up in one of those deuce and a quarters with the tail lights falling off, and Scott Armstrong goes, you said a limo, not a lemon. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. Scott Armstrong, man, those Armstrong guys, I know that you're friends with Road Dogg.
Yeah,
they were one of a kind, man.
Oh yeah, great. I was cool with all of them, man. Got to wrestle all of them, even Bullet, man. And
that's awesome.
Great family.
Yeah, I started right there in Memphis. I was playing football, and old Memphis State Tiger, Mike Stark, came out, and I knew him. I said, man, I'd love to get in that wrestling. I already had my mullet. I was about 220. And he goes, pull down to the back of the Coliseum. There's going to be a little gate. There's going to be about 4 policemen. If you stop, that's over. But just wave at them, pull around and park and walk in the back. Yeah. And he goes, take a right, and then another right, and that's Lawler's office. So I pull in, I wave at them dudes. They all wave back at me. I pull down, park, I walk in. I took a right, another. And there's Lawler. He goes, well, I probably can't say that word.
Yeah, you can.
How did you get back here? How did you get back here? And, man, you know how he is. He was pissed for a minute. Then he just started laughing,
Right.
He's a sports fan. And I said, man, right now I'm a quarterback at Memphis State, but I don't think I'll be playing any. I said, man, this is what I want to do. So he brought Coco Ware in there. Coco was in the territory, but Coco could only train me every Monday at the ring once they got it set up at the Coliseum, and I didn't like that too much. Then he brought the Dream Machine in there, Troy Graham. Did you ever meet him, Wolfie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, buddy. He was a little scary, and I think he was feeling pretty good that night. So I said, I probably ain't my way. Then they brought old Donnie Bass in there. And Donnie goes, kid, I got a ring set up West Memphis. We'll train every day. He forgot to tell me he goes on the loop for 3 days a week. But so I went and borrowed, took out a loan for $5,000, and I handed it to him. And so he gave me Bill Lash and them's name. And I got my boots and Carl Hildegard for my tights and all that. And he said, I want you to keep these in your car at all times in your bag. And so he told me, he goes, hey, you need to go around the loop so they'll get used to seeing you. I show you how big a mark I was. Of course, we had to go in my car. And me, him, and Roger Smith, Dirty Roads.
Okay.
I think they were the Assassins or Interns or Fire and Flame. They were one of the gimmick tag teams that they did. And they were working the Fab. So, that was a great time. You got, all kind of stars, Austin Idol in and out. So the first night we get to Louisville and Lawler comes in, he is so mad they had lost his bag. And man, I'm sitting there and I go, excuse me. I called him, excuse me, King. Man, I got some stuff you can wear. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, man, you're kind of my hero. I got the long tights. I got a boots, and, I got the sweatbands and even an elbow pad for my right arm. He goes, what? And he looked, he goes, you've never even worn these. And I said, I know. And he goes, I said, man, I'd be honored. So he wore them that night. When he got back, he goes, I'll bring these Saturday morning to TV. I'm booking you. So that's how I got my start, man. The rest is history. But he always, he did a little deal with me, and I drove, but thank God it was his car then. And I'd do the Memphis, Louisville, Evansville, spot show Thursday, Friday, back up to Nashville on Saturday, Jackson on Sunday. And man, he booked me every show, and I'd be the first, second match. And but hey, I was getting to wrestle, getting the feel of everything. And I mean, back then everything was drawing. That's back when some of the guys, like within 6 months or a year, Jimmy Hart, signed with New York.
Right.
He kind of finished up, and then Macho Man was there, and he did his little deal and finished up. Yeah. A lot of those guys were going up to WWE. Rick Rude came through.
Everybody, man. I know.
All the big stars. People don't realize. I mean, Memphis, Memphis, Mid-South, Southeastern Florida, all of those were the territories where all the guys, got their training, and I mean, it was awesome, So Eddie Gilbert, who I wrestled my first match.
Really?
I mean, it was me and a guy named Johnny Wilhoit. He's from Kentucky, and he was part of the new generation with one of the Batten twins.
Okay.
And we wrestled Iron Mike Sharp, Eddie Gilbert, and Jimmy Hart was their manager. Well, man, I mean, I'm sure, Wolfie, during your time, you wrestled Eddie before, right?
I've wrestled Eddie, yes, one time in Evansville.
I mean, oh my God, that is, man, he's, he was another, Lawler was his hero. Man, I'd never wrestled somebody so smooth. I mean, it was like poetry in motion. And man, he got back, he goes, how long you been working? I said, that's my first match ever. And he went crazy. And, and he kind of would come through Memphis for 6 months or so. Well, this was kind of the back end of that 6 months. So he went to Mid-South to start booking for White. Well, Dundee came back over, and, man, I had a star on my boots and just whatever. I just didn't jive real good with Bill at first.
Yeah.
So Eddie calls me. He goes, we got a guy called the One Man Gang over here. What was the guy's name that had the green tongue and dark jersey was his valet?
Missing Link.
Missing Link. He goes, we want to give him a protege. And I'm like thinking, first thing, I ain't shaving my head. You know what I mean? So I said, can I call you tomorrow? And this is way before cell phones. So I chickened out of that deal. And then Bill came in, and he wouldn't even book me on TV. And I'm like, man.
Really?
So I get back. I call Eddie back, and I said, man, I'm so sorry. I don't care what you do now. I'll come. And he goes, well, let me see what I can do. And he put me together with Shane Douglas as a babyface underneath tag team. And he hooked us up with Carl Fergie. You know Carl from Jackson.
Yeah.
He's Lawler's cousin. So Carl was pulling the ring, refereeing. He was a jack of all trades over there. And so we get over there, and, man, a lot of times we wrestle Tim Horner and Brad Armstrong. Well, Brad told Bullet about me, and then, as UWF, it was Mid-South at first, and then changed to UWF. Crockett bought it. So we went and we wrestled at the Summit, Joel Osteen's big building down there in Houston. And it was a big combination card with Flair against, Ricky Steamboat, but it had our guys. We had the Freebirds. We had Rick Steiner and Sting, managed by Eddie, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. So it's, our guys against theirs. And so we wrestled Tiger Conway Jr. and Pez. And, man, I thought we tore the house down. And as soon as we get to sit down in the dressing room, one of the agents comes up and says, Dusty wants to see y'all in his suite. And I'm like, oh, my God, because Dusty was the big booker. Eddie booked our UWF deal. So they lead us up there. We walk in, and it's like a skybox deal. And the Houston Rockets played there, too. And Dusty Rhodes and ZZ Top. I mean, this is when ZZ Top was hot, son. And I can't even, I'm just sitting there all star-eyed. And Dusty goes, Shane and Davey, we gonna make y'all the next rock and roll express, baby. Me and Shane just look at each other, and so we thought, here we go, man. This is our break. And so, like, the next day was like Baton Rouge, and then they had the TV taping where they're really supposed to start pushing us at UNO Arena in New Orleans, and we come pulling up, and Ric Flair and Eddie Gilbert are in the parking lot having a real fight.
Really?
And I mean, I couldn't believe it. We jump out, we run out there and break them up, and we, what I hear is, Eddie was the booker, so he had an office, and it said Eddie's office. You know how the guys do in those bigger deals. Well, Flair came in, and he tore the sign down, threw all Eddie's stuff out in the hall, and went in there. And I guess there was some back tension from that. Eddie saw that, and he jumped on him, and they spilled all the way in the parking lot. So when it all settled down, Eddie goes, if you're with me, come on. And if you want to stay, you can stay. So me and Shane got our stuff and left. And
that's a pretty shitty predicament to be in,
You know what, though, man? It all turned out. Shane wound up going back about 2 months later, and they put him with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and they were world champions within 2 weeks. So that turned out better for him. And, and then Brad told Bullet about me, and he called me about the USA territory and said, hey, how would you like to be Davey Rich and go from the first match to the main event? And I said, I would like that. And I had met Johnny. Johnny started out as Roy Rogers, because, and him and Tommy really are cousins. And, and have you ever met Johnny before, Wolfie?
Yeah, it wasn't wrestling, though. I met him, like, he came to see Tommy or something like that. I've met him, like, at a show, but he wasn't on the show.
He was awesome, man. People loved him. He's one of those guys, some of the boys, at least most of the boys got an enemy somewhere. He's got zero enemies. He is the most awesome guy ever. And, I mean, you know the deal. You were with Jamie. When you're a tag team, man, you're 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, way more than you are with your wife. It's just, it's tough, man, but he was so awesome. And we had our little run and wound up going to WCW and got to wrestle Sid and Dan Spivey 40 days in a row and doing a power bomb every night. That was awesome. And but now I had some big moments. Got to like those were all called Great American Bashes, and they actually looked at doing a little angle between me, Johnny, and Tommy and the Freebirds. We actually worked them a few times. This is when Buddy had kind of stepped aside, and Jimmy Garvin was in there with Terry, and that's exactly right. They had Terry, Bam Bam Gordy, and Michael. And, man, I thought it was great. And just through the years, I've heard that something fell apart, that Tommy wanted some kind of special deal or something like that. But, hey, I'm just one of those people, and I just think, man, whatever's supposed to be is gonna happen. And, man, Johnny was about ready to take it to the house. And, the deal. Just you wake up that day and you know it's over.
Right.
I was wrestling Road Dogg in Mobile, and it was a shotgun Saturday night show. Mm-hmm. And we were supposed to go 12 minutes, which is a long time for a TV match.
Right.
In the first 30 seconds, the toe of his boot caught me right on my chin and just laid it open. Ooh. I mean, it was so bad it wasn't even bleeding. And so we go on, we finish the match. He asked me, he goes, "You want to go home?" I said, "You got to be kidding. I'd rather die out here and be cussed out by Vince McMahon." So I didn't want to mess up the TV time. So we do the match. We walk through the little, whatever they call that part where all, Vince
Gorilla.
Or Gorilla. And Vince goes, let me see, Davey. He goes, "Oh, my God, I can see your chin bone." And I'm like, well, that's reassuring. But, hey, let me tell you, man, that was about the first night. It was me, Tony Williams, Reggie B. Fine, and Carl. And that was the first of a 4-night swing. And they paid me for those 4 nights. The next 4 nights, paid me to get it stitched up, paid me to, to get special transportation home. I mean, they took care of me. So,
That's good.
Everybody's got their Vince stories, but he did me right. I can't say nothing, So
everybody's really got one right now. Have you watched that documentary on Netflix yet?
I watched parts of it, man.
Me too. I ain't watched all of it.
Keep my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Kind of same way. Jimmy, why don't you join the conversation? I know you got some stuff for Davey.
Well, one thing I definitely got to ask, and first of all, definitely appreciate you being on, Davey. It's awesome to talk to you.
Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
So one of our former guests you actually have a connection with, and I'd love to hear your story about working with Marcus Dupree. Like, how did you meet him? And
Well, here it's so funny. Now, that's when cell phones had come out, and the phone rings, and I go, "Hello," and he goes, "Hey, this is Marcus Dupree." I said, "Yeah, this is Peyton Manning. How can I help you?" When we were growing up, Marcus is like 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
He's still the most recruited high school football player ever. They have a book William Morris wrote about him called The Courting of Marcus Dupree.
Yes.
I mean,
famous
it
book.
is unbelievable. So, and he goes, "Man, I'm going to be playing for the Pharaohs, but I really am not going to be playing. They just want to have a name on the roster. I'm staying over here at the Peabody." And I said, "The Peabody?" And he goes, I know. So I go over there and see him. And I mean, it's all fancy, all this stuff. I said, "Do you like it here?" He goes, "Hell no. Come stay at my house, and we'll go train every day. And, man, I'll have you ready in a month." Because, you know how you watch it your whole life.
Yeah.
You know all the moves,
Right.
So, I mean, we went over there, and Donnie had that ring, and we would train. And, he always had people coming through. So, so I called Lawler, and I said, because I didn't really know Randy too good.
Right.
Randy was actually, that's when Wolfie D, when you guys were doing your program with Tommy and Doug.
Right.
So y'all were on top with that. So I called and I told Lawler about it. Lawler's a big mark for football.
Oh, yeah.
He loves it, So, Marcus came out and was sitting with Lance, and, Marcus was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And they showed all this stuff, and he goes, Lance goes, "Well, Marcus, just sit here with me, and Dave's got a match up here." And so they did the deal where I'm beating Crusher Bones or something like that. And I just before I beat him, a guy, his partner gets in the ring, and Marcus does no deal. "Well, I can't sit here and watch this."
Yeah.
He comes and starts doing getting in the 3-point stance and blocking them or whatever. And they're flying around. And so the same thing the next week. And so that just turned in. We had everything from football matches where we wear shoulder pads and helmets.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, it was so goofy. But I mean, you know what? Man, Marcus, he's, you've seen him, Wolfie. You either have it or you don't have it. And he had the it factor. He just didn't give it enough time. I mean, when you're such a high profile, I mean, at 18 years old, the New Orleans Breakers, Donald Trump signed him and Herschel Walker the same day. He signed the biggest contract in history for an 18-year-old. I mean, that's pretty strong. And, yeah. So I mean, he was used to, going straight to the top. And I told him, I said, man, it usually don't work like that here. So one day, man, I think he was fixing to, they were going, push us a little more. And he, I left my house in my car, and he was following me in his truck, and I wasn't paying no attention. I get there, and I don't see him. And then he called me. Yeah, I get in the TV, and Lawler's, where's he at? And I'm like, I didn't know. And so next thing I knew, man, he got a hold of me and just says, hey, Dave, that's just so much traveling. And, he goes, I think I'm going to, do something else. And I think he wound up being a scout for Steve Spurrier and the Washington Redskins for a little while. So, I mean, he just had so much stuff going on and so much offers. And, you admit, Wolfie, the money wasn't the best.
No.
And, so, I mean, you had to have a love for the business. I mean,
sure.
Man, I love Memphis wrestling. I'd rather been the Southern Heavyweight Champion than the WWE World Champion. That's how.
Well, and Jimmy's heard me say this, man. We've discussed, getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I meant what I said at the beginning of my speech, man. This means so much to me because this is what I grew up on. I didn't, I watched WWE, man. But Memphis was the first wrestling I ever saw. It was the one I liked the most, and that's why the induction just meant so much to me, man. It's like, hell, this little kid
so
never
much emotion. So much emotion, so much feelings, so much believability in Memphis wrestling. And I mean, the other just got so goofy, man. I mean, as I was watching some of that Vince show, some of those characters, and Stone Cold one time told me some of the characters they offered him. And Tracy told me the same, and I'm like, man, I'm sitting there thinking, man, I don't even know, if I would do something like that. It's just clownish. I mean, it makes a fool out of the business to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people back when I first started, buddy, that would, they had to kill Vince McMahon doing that crap.
Yeah, I'd say.
There's been a few that tried,
Oh, you ain't kidding, man. Vince and Donald Trump, they both, that's two people that, anytime you're outspoken like that, and, my hat's off to Vince. Vince took it to a whole new level. Man, I go to these buildings, and I carry it when they have it at the Cajun Dome. I live in Lafayette, Louisiana. When they have it down there, Road Dogg will get me some tickets. And, man, I just can't believe the throngs of people and all of these catchphrases and every single person just yelling them at the top of their lungs. Yeah. And, I mean, that era when they had Stone Cold and they had, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and Generation X. And, I mean, man, every match, usually back in the day, it'd be a good match and then an okay match and a good match. Man, they had a little time there when every match meant something.
They had a hell of a roster.
It was on fire.
Yeah, they had a hell of a roster.
Oh, man, it's just unbelievable. And, still to this day, I have people go, man, it just ain't like it was in the day. Everybody in Lafayette grew up with Mid-South wrestling, and I mean, JYD, Ted DiBiase and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Rock and Roll Express. I mean, it it was awesome, man. It was the best entertainment, period. And then I guess Vince kind of exposed the business and saying that it was predetermined and all that.
Yeah, I mean, he confirmed it. I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Because there was that. You remember that show with the mask? It was like a magician guy, but he was showing wrestling stuff, secrets, and all that. I forget.
Like Harley Race was secretly in that video too.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was kind of sad, but Harley needed the money at the time. And, and it's funny because you can tell it's him. He's like, and you put him in, and it's like Harley.
I don't know how good you knew Harley Race, but I wouldn't have said nothing to him.
No.
I'd have said, yes, sir.
Go on,
yes, sir. That dude. Hey, here's one of legitimate tough dudes, man. I mean,
that's what they say. I never got to meet him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D. Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Benji Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbowie34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the Rockstar Realtor.
Benji is a member of Exit Realty's Garden Gate team in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Let me ask you something legitimate here, actually, if you don't mind. Did you ever get the chance to wrestle the Bear in Continental?
You know what? I was there one night when Tracy wrestled him.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I was, you know what, man? That dude, that thing wore Tracy out. I didn't see nothing fun about that. And the scaffold match are just two things that just didn't seem appealing to me.
Yeah, no
doubt.
That's one for me, man. I always thought, I knew this like before I ever got in the business. Like if I do, I don't think I could do that because of my fear of heights, man. But it's funny because, like, I jumped off the top of a cage before, no problem, but out of the balcony and all that shit. But I don't know, something about that scaffold. That's
jump off the top of the cage into the ring or out of the ring?
Into the ring.
Oh my God! Yeah, out of the ring. Woo.
No.
I'll tell you a good one. Oh, y'all remember Bam Bam Bigelow, right?
Oh yeah.
His first match, once he got the Lawler's group, was me and Tracy against him. And man, that dude was superhuman strong, man.
Really?
I mean, he was something. And he had tattoos on his head and everything else. Now, I know I was scared of him. I don't know about Tracy. Once I got to know him, I loved him. But man, he shoots Tracy out, and we were already blown up and sweating like crazy. And Tracy slides about halfway to the heel dressing room. And I'm like, whoa. And so he grabs me, and you know how when people go to press slam you or something, you kind of give him a little help. That joker had me up over his head, and he brings me down to his head. And Tracy's coming back down the walkway. I'm sitting there going, man, I don't remember us talking about this. And he goes and does the Rocky Balboa deal to me and throws me. And thank God Tracy caught me. I mean, we hadn't talked about it. I'd never even seen that. And man, that dude was just superhuman strong, man. And he was doing daggone cartwheels down the ring. Oh, man, he was something else, man. He
can move for a big guy. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh, man, he was one of a kind. But now Memphis is always the realism, the emotions. They would get all the the feelings into it, man. And Jarrett and Randy and Lawler. I mean, man, they knew how to book it. They would bring in some other guys. Dutch maybe booked a little bit. Tom Ernesto came in, and I thought Tom was doing really good, but something obviously went south on it. But, yeah. So what I know, man, the guys. I mean, you had the Fabs, had guys like y'all who just, man, I mean, that the people loved, and then the great heels. Man, the last time I went, man, everybody got cheered. There's no heat of any of those WWE guys. And
I don't think there can be real heat anymore. I don't think there can be real heat anymore. And this is another one of those ones, Jimmy, and probably most of the listeners have heard me say 1,000 times. You can't do it. I don't think you can really be a true heel anymore, because it's hard to make somebody mad when they know you're trying to make them mad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not really an asshole. He's just playing his character.
We know that.
I know some of the boys who could really. No, I'm just kidding.
And then the thing is too is like in today's, if you are a real heel and a real asshole, you get in trouble for it. you gotta apologize to somebody or something.
What are you doing? They're all mad at you.
It don't work like that anymore, unfortunately. That's the fun part to me.
Stop and think about Memphis when Tommy and Austin Idol did that swerve on Lawler and shaved his head. I mean, when, Handsome Jimmy broke the Coke bottle over Lawler's head. I mean, so many different things. Even when they beat Jeff up, man, that was a great way to break him into the business, Buddy and Bill did. I mean, it's just so much, raw emotion. And, man, you knew who the heel was, and you knew who the baby face was, and everybody knew their role. And then I knew when heels started wanting to go out selling pictures and T-shirts towards the end, I was like, wait a minute here. How's that going to work? So, but
there was some shows near my end where it was like, it was required that the heels and the baby faces all go out there and, meet and greet before the show. And I remember one show where I was like, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing it. I mean, I'll sell my pictures out there. Somebody else can sell them, but I'm not going out there. And it just didn't make sense to me, because I didn't want to take away from the match that I was going to have that night. And I feel like that does.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Lawler told me one time, he never went out at first. Towards the end, I think he did. But I said, man, people would go crazy if you came out there. And he goes, man, what would you do if you were going to see Elvis Presley?
Yeah, that's the exact.
You walk in the front door, and he's sat at a damn folding table, sit down there signing autographs. And I said, okay, you win. But again, you gotta look at it like that. I mean, some people, say we were heroes. Some people say no, but man, when I went, buddy, every single person, if they were in that dressing room, I don't care if it was Guy Coffey or Buddy Wayne, they were over with me. I love referees, everybody.
Yeah. So. And you grew up in Memphis, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, like, do you remember like your first time going to wrestling or seeing it?
First time, my father passed away when I was real young. We moved to Senatobia, Mississippi.
Okay.
My neighbor loved wrestling. So my stepdad was a carpenter, and he put a wrestling ring in my backyard. There'd be people from miles around, and I mean, we were hitting each other with we'd have coal miners' gloves with washers taped on. I mean, it's a wonder we didn't kill somebody. People get real color and everything else. And,
damn. How old were you?
So this guy.
How old were you when y'all was doing that?
That was 7th, 8th.
Damn. And y'all was getting color.
I mean, it was crazy, man. And so this guy carried me in the main event was Jerry Jarrett against Don Kent. And Al Costello was Don Kent's manager. He's one of the fabulous Kangaroos.
Yeah.
And, man, they worked head scissors for 40 minutes. where he had Jerry Jarrett in his head scissors, and Jerry would almost get out, and they would work, and the people, and by the time he chipped out or however he got out, I mean, and Coliseum sold slap out. You know? And I mean, the place just goes crazy. But you know, Lawler was the main, but he was a heel. And I went when he wrestled Bobo Brazil, the Sheik, Dick the Bruiser. They did a little deal where they brought all these, they call it the top 10 wrestlers from around the United States. And at the end, the winner was going to get to go against Jack Briscoe for the world title. And so Briscoe, you know, goes to put the figure 4 on Lawler, and Lawler kicks him off. And he hits the referee and flips over the rope. Well, Lawler suplexes him in. Somebody comes in, 1, 2, 3. Then the referee gets up, gives it to Briscoe, and said he threw him over the top.
Reverse the decision.
Yeah, the whole day. You know, and by then, Lawler had been a bad guy so long that people were starting to like him because all these guys had come in. And he said what he was going to do to him. Of course, you know, he healed and won, but it was, I mean, it was just beautiful the way that they laid that out and did the storytelling and all that, you know. I mean, they had me hook, line, and sinker, which that didn't take much.
The first match that I remember seeing, it was definitely the first time I ever went. And I grew up in Nashville, so I went to the fairgrounds. But the first match that I remember seeing live was Terry Taylor and Bill Dundee. That was the very first one. I couldn't tell you what the finish was. I just remember the excitement of the place and how loud the ring sounded. That's the main takeaways I had.
The first night I go over to Mid-South, they're turning Terry Taylor heel. He's been leading up to it. So it's me against him, and they, you know, they built me up and tried to act like I was somebody. But I mean, I'm sure you just look at how I walk to the ring and say, I don't know about all that. And but Tommy Gilbert was the referee, so they had me reverse 5 or 6 deals on Terry Taylor, and him get mad, and he pulled his knee pad down and dropped a bare knee on my head. I was afraid to get color, so Tommy reaches down there and he does the ear to ear, buddy. They had to black out my body for TV.
Really?
I couldn't even drive back to Memphis. I was out of it, man. And,
wow.
But it's actually on YouTube. You can see Reach down there. Oh yeah, it was crazy. But man, Terry Taylor, again, you never know what goes on in the back and all that stuff. But let me tell you something, man. That dude, he could talk. He had a good look to him. He could be a heel. He could be a baby face. And he obviously, somewhere along the line, pissed somebody off for that Red Rooster deal. But let me tell you, man.
He was good for it. I was a fan as a kid. I really liked Terry Taylor. And for whatever reason, I don't know, man. Just once I met the guy, it's kind of like we really didn't click, man. I felt like one time when I was working for TNA and he was an agent for my match. And it's that was like his, I think, first week in TNA, and I was there from the beginning. And it's like I felt like he was trying to sabotage my match, man. Like I don't think he realized that I wasn't as green as he may have thought I was. I had already had my PG-13 run. I was slashed then. I'd already had 10 years.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, and so it's like I felt like he was, trying to tell me to do shit that I just didn't think was right for me, and it wasn't like I was a rookie doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But it just didn't click, man.
Yeah. Well, him and Chris Adams did a little angle. This is a pretty neat little story. So I always drove, and Ron Simmons beat me driving, him in the front seat, Shane, Chris Adams, and Michael P.S. Hayes in the back. Well, man, Chris had gotten mad about something. We're only going from Jackson, Mississippi to Baton Rouge. It wasn't even 2 hours. And, man, Ron's up front, and he just stomps on the back of Ron's chair. He goes, Ron, Ron's so nice. He's like, need me to move up, man? And you know, Chris is, you know, mumbling something. And, man, he did it again. And I think Ron thinks, man, maybe this dude's messing with me. And, buddy, I don't know how much you know about Ron. He's a pretty bad dude. And he come out of that Joker, and that Chris come out, and Chris didn't want nothing to do with him. He goes, open the trunk. And he got his bag, and he was in the main event that night with Terry Taylor. I never saw him again. He was out, man. He was gone. You know, we all just looked at each other. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what?
I don't know how I'm like, what in the world? You know, so I liked him. You know, I tried to like everybody. I mean, Chris Adams had a good little look to him, and man, he was like a judo champion, man. I mean, he really, really had some gymnastic moves and stuff. I don't know if you ever worked him, but in these spot shows, man, it'd be one of them deals where he's doing all this stuff. Next thing you know, you got him in a hole, and you're like, how the hell did that happen? He's one of those guys that can work with a broom handle. You know, but he really, really, really had some judo and gymnastic skills, kind of like Hector Guerrero. You know, he was another one that could that. I mean, he's like a gymnastics champion and could do all this stuff, man. And you know, most of the Guerreros got some great pushes, and I'm sure in some of the territories he did. But you know, where I was, I mean, they just never really gave him a push. Like, you know, I mean, he was fiery, he had a good look to him. I just never understood why they didn't push him more.
Yeah, who knows, man? Like you say, sometimes it's timing, and sometimes the right person is booking for you, and sometimes the wrong person is booking for you. You know.
Look through those years of Memphis cards. You know, they put them on all the time. Sometimes there's not any talent, and sometimes it's like a who's who. Yeah. Like, man, there's 9 matches, and every one of them could be a main event nowadays. Yeah. You know, I mean, so you're right. It's timing, being at the right place at the right time, the right gimmick, you know, and then having somebody believe in you. And, you know, that's it. You get the right, you know, I mean, Bullet and Ron Fuller believed in us. Yeah. I mean, man, he had the deal, and then Dundee came in and turned on us. We brought Tommy in. I mean, I grew up in Memphis, and Tommy was over, you know, in Memphis. But, man, when he came into that East Tennessee, and we were going to Virginia and North and South Carolina and Georgia, buddy, Tommy Rich, man, I mean, he was nationwide over. Oh, yeah. I mean, people would lose. I mean, it was Beaver or something coming out there. I mean, people would lose their mind. I'm like, I've never seen nothing like that. You know, I've seen, you know, good, hard cheering for Lawler and Dundee and, you know, some of those are fat. But, I mean, these girls would just go crazy, man. Yeah. I thought it was cool as crap. But I mean,
tell you, man, out of all the people that I've traveled with, I'd say, and I really didn't travel with Ricky a lot, but I'd say Ricky and Tommy, I don't know if it's the haircuts or what, but it seemed like everywhere you go, man. And when I was riding around with Tommy, it was still the verge where kayfabe was still kind of a thing, man. And so, you know, you go in, somebody recognizes Tommy, it's like you beeline the opposite way in the store or some shit. Like, recognize him everywhere you go. He's very recognizable.
It didn't hurt that he talked about 10 octaves higher than everybody else. He's got that one-of-a-kind voice. Yeah. Man, you know, him, and did you ever know Buddy Landell much?
Yeah.
Man, Buddy Landell, you know, maybe I was just a mark for him. He had, you know, he was almost as good as Lawler with those one-liners.
Yeah, man, Buddy was funny.
Let me tell you, man, he had that it factor to him, too. I just wish, you know, again, everybody's got their alleys, and maybe it just wasn't the right timing for him. But did you ever know? This guy's a policeman up in Knoxville now. Oh, I'm having a scene.
In Knoxville.
I can't think. Yeah, he does the parking for the Tennessee games. He works the bailiff at the courthouse.
You ain't talking. No, that can't be who you're talking about.
Is it Tim Horner you're talking about?
No, Tim lives in Morristown.
Okay.
I talk to Tim all the time. Let's go. Ron Sexton.
Okay.
They put
I don't think I do know him.
Well, they put Ron Sexton with Buddy to make sure he got to that TV. And the whole week had him booked on every town to make sure he didn't get in trouble. He got to that TV because they were going to put Flair was going to put him over, put the belt on him.
Yeah.
Man, up there, I ran into Ron, and he told me a breakdown of each day, and I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I was like, man, but I thought Buddy was one of a kind. I mean,
definitely.
Man, he's just, just such a good dude.
Absolutely,
funny, humble,
and same with Buddy or Billy Joe, man. That's when you mentioned him earlier. Same type of personality, man. You couldn't dislike them. Everybody's got their demons.
When he went down to world class and he was a heel, he was so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime people would leave from that Memphis area, they'd take a little bit of everybody's character with them. And it's so easy to get over because you don't have all those guys there, and people there had never seen it. And I mean, man, he was such a good cowardly heel. And then once you could, start the heat, he was ferocious, man. I mean, I loved him, man. I mean, again, I guarantee you, Eddie Gilbert would be on some sort of booking committee. I don't know if it would be WWE, but I mean, that dude had the best mind I've ever seen in the wrestling business. I mean, he was through and through wrestling. That's what he lived, ate, drank wrestling 24 hours and 7 days a week. I thought he was awesome.
And, for real.
You just never
Jimmy,
know.
I'm gonna roll across the ring here and hot tag you and let you take us to the house since we're getting low on time here.
Well, and you were kind of going.
Take it to the house.
Go to the house. Yeah. So you were kind of almost about to touch on it, I feel like there, but the conversation has just been flowing so well. I didn't want to butt in, but how did it happen that you officially went from Haskins to Rich?
Bob Armstrong called me, and Brad had told him about me, and he said, Tommy can't come in here full time. And I wanted, Tommy and Johnny had a run with the Nightmares, and they called him a couple different things, and he really wanted Tommy. He goes, man, would you be interested in being Davey Rich? You come in, you're automatically going to be at the top, and I was like, I'd have walked up there, I was like, hell yeah, I didn't ask for no money, no nothing. I just showed up. I mean, that's how, but I mean, I tell you, we worked against Mike Davis and Tommy Lane hundreds of times, just like did with Tommy and Doug. Tommy and Doug. Man, you knew in your sleep what they were going to do. I mean, and man, I don't know if you worked against those guys. That's the most underrated tag team in the history of pro wrestling. Those guys could do it all. I still talk to Tommy to this day. Mike passed away, years ago. But Tommy Lane, again, I think, they had pushes in some areas and, they did some stuff. But, man, let me tell you, they were awesome. They were really good.
Really underrated. Yeah.
Oh, really underrated. I mean, you go back and look at some of their stuff, and it's, it's really good. I mean, they knew how to, they were a great heel tag team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, so that, we did that and kind of ran its course. We were the first babyface tag team in Smoky Mountain, and Johnny, I guess, told Cornette, he was, wasn't going to work, but I think 4 weeks or something like that. And the last night, I think they were going to put the belts on us and have them win them at a big Knoxville show. I did a cross body off the middle road on Dr. Tom, and my leg went behind. I broke my tibia and fibula in 7 places.
Man,
right in the middle of the ring. And that was the end of Davey Rich.
Oh man,
it took a whole year. Cornette let me come back, but I mean, after a year, you can't have heat that long. And I came back. I think I was in the Fantastics corner or something like that. And it got over like a turd in a punch bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, dude, man, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I wish you could have made it out last week, but I know you're busy with your driving.
No. If they ever do it again, man, I'll do whatever. I was in the big convention in Las Vegas. And, man, if nothing else, Wolfie D, it sure was good talking to you again. And my pleasure, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Man, you guys, I'm going to start listening to y'all's deal. I can't believe how many people are already listening, so I'm excited. And
we appreciate that.
Anytime I can help y'all with somebody old. I don't know if y'all have had Shane on here, but, man, he's quite the character.
Which Shane? Shane Douglas?
Shane Douglas, friend.
No, we haven't. Yeah, we'd love to.
Well,
I'd love to hook y'all.
I think Shane's got his own podcast, don't he?
No, it's over with. He doesn't have that. Yeah.
I got you. I've worked with Shane quite a bit in TNA. We were partners on a few, well, not a few. It's kind of like I wouldn't say partners. We were in a faction together for a quick minute. But at any rate, yeah, man, I worked with him up in ECW, all that.
He's got an opinion on everything.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He is 100% one of the boys.
And you know what's cool about him is I was working at NWA Saw in Nashville. I was doing a little manager gig, really not a lot, but it was fun. And, I was a nobody in that locker room. And Shane actually spent like 15 to 20 minutes with me just going over promo styles and stuff. And I was just like, holy crap, this guy's doing one-on-one with me. Why? It was awesome.
That's just the way he is, man.
Free.
Dominique DiNucci trained him and Mick Foley and trained them right, man. Trained them right, taught them how to respect every single person, man. I mean, he was from Pittsburgh, so he's a little bit moodier than me and Carl. But we got thousands of miles under our belts, man. We got stories that we're not, none of us are even, well, I'm married, but neither one of those guys are married. I'd get them divorced in their next marriage.
Oh, man. Thank you, David.
Man, thank you guys so much, man. Y'all been awesome. And, man,
you have to. Easy interview, man.
Brother.
Yeah.
All right. You take care.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Y'all have a good day.
Take care.
All right. And we'll be right back with Ask Wolfie D Anything.
DJ, hit the music. All right, we are back with Ask Wolfie D Anything. And first off, man, David Haskins, what a cool dude, man. And that guy, he didn't even need to be there. We could just hit record and let him roll and laugh.
Yeah, I mean, we did not interview. We just called him up and he told us everything we needed.
I know. It was awesome. I mean, it was literally like wiping questions off the table. And I didn't get to ask him the one good. So at the very end, I was so in depth listening to him that I even asked a question that he had kind of already answered. And then I was wanting to ask him about the party bus video that it was like him and the party boys in the van in Continental. I wish I would have asked. I got to ask him about that.
You'll have to send me that.
Yeah, I will. It's great. But anyway, maybe next time we'll get him. So
maybe next time.
But thank you, David. We appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Great episode.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, very fun.
A great takeover.
Yeah, great listening.
Yes. Me and you were just like the listeners on this.
We were, bro. And I mean, I love those
awesome
shows sometimes.
And I love that, man, because we don't have to, who work smart, not hard, right?
Yeah.
And we worked smart on that one.
Exactly. As Ben Jordan told me, since he was driving, David was driving, he was road smart, right? That's what we'll call it. Yeah, we're road smart. So, well, the first question is from Teddy Pendergast, 24/7 from YouTube. And he says this. He says, love the show, fellas. Sincerely, have never laughed harder than y'all talking about Jimmy Hart Jr. on that episode. He says, my question today is, what is one move in wrestling that hurts every time, no matter how safe the guy is, or maybe more than one? Thanks again for making my Mondays better.
Okay, first thing that comes to mind is a fucking chop. I mean, first of all, depending on who throws it, a punch or a kick, any kind of strike, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as like a bump, I personally have always hated a choke slam. And I don't know why. It's that up and backwards too high motion. Like I've jumped off the top of the cage, done a front flip, boom, kind of like a backdrop move, boom. Any flip thing is all right, but the higher the back bump gets, I don't like it. And I got choke slammed by Big Show, and I think I've told this story of that. As soon as I hit the ground, I like started coughing up shit. It was just, I don't know. There's something about that. The physics of the bump, I just don't like. Chair shots, they're not good. But as far as bumps, I guess, it's something to do with that up and back motion. And I think I kind of prided myself on being able to take great snap. You know, if you punch me, boom, to the ground, boom, to the ground. Yeah. But if I have to go up and then back, I don't know. I just don't like that bump.
Yeah.
The push off, like say a superplex. If I'm going for it and I get pushed off the second, I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's that something about that physics of that bump. So that's my answer.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I mean, that makes sense, dude. There's no way and
it's not because I hit my head or, you know what I mean? It's nothing like that. I don't know. It's just the angle of the bump. I don't like it. Yeah. Even though I've had to take it 4 million times.
4 million times. Yeah. That's funny.
And also the pit bulls move. Yeah, because that's a backwards falling bump. There you
go. With that air whipping.
Remember I talked about that? How much I hated that. Yeah, well, that's the ultimate falling backward bump.
Hey man, I love that. So this one is this next one is an interesting question. It's from Cause Effect on Instagram, and I don't really know this answer, and I know we went over a lot of them. But he says, in your opinion, who could make the next class of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame?
Oh Lord, because that's hard because I can't remember everybody that's in it, man.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think who was there that wasn't in it.
Exactly. Man. And then who wasn't there that's already in. I know the Fabs are in, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Fabs are in. I mean, if they're not, that would be number one, man.
Yeah. And then I guess there's people that are in, but maybe not with their partners, like the PYTs. Is Troy Graham in?
I don't think so. So.
There you go. Troy Graham needs to be in it.
Yeah.
Billy Joe Travis, if he's not, I mean, definitely. I just don't know who is and who ain't. And I can't remember.
Yeah, man. I mean, we covered most of them, but I don't remember any of those names popping up. And
then I'm doing good here.
Yeah.
Let me think. And honestly, okay, this just popped in my head. Rough and Ready, just because everybody remembers their name, man, for whatever reason. Like, and here's something funny, man, is that I saw a thing on one group or Facebook group, something like that like it was like, what's the lamest tag team in Memphis?
I saw that. I think I saw that.
Yeah, and Rough and Ready got mentioned more than anybody. And I was like, really? And so my thought is, were they bad? Because I only remember them as what they looked like.
Right.
I promise I'd have to go back and look to see the work. So if somebody is saying they're the shits because of the gimmick, they can kiss my butt. Because man, I mean, that was kind of cool. I remember thinking that's kind of cool. Two dudes and the opposites and whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know what their work was like, so I don't know if that's legitimate or not. But I mean, hell, maybe Rough and Ready, man, for just being the top job guys in Memphis, man.
So
if they could work, especially because none of the other ones could.
Yeah, think about it this way, man. It's crazy to think about, but you would have the Fabs and Rough and Ready going in the same year. Yeah, that's so funny, but awesome in my opinion. So
the Assassins. I don't know if they're in there or not, but. Yeah, I don't know who's in or who's out, but I could probably think of a bunch. And hell, I think I answered the question.
I think you did very well. Let's throw Dante and Mephisto in there too. Why not? They won the titles, right? Come on.
They did. They beat PG-13 and helped us get to 15 times.
So there you go. That means a lot, man. So yeah, I think that answered that. And I hope you're listening, Kevin and Randy. So Randy's not. He's mad at us, I think.
That's funny.
But anyway, so the next one, and you kind of answered this, but let's just kind of put this one to bed here. So you did answer it, and we heard it in your speech, and we've heard it many times before. But Kevin Heron from Facebook asked this question: where did the hubcap gimmick come from? I loved it. You know, Kurt Heron said that he was the recipient of it a few times, and so
Kurt, I trained Kurt.
Oh, did you?
Referee? Yeah, it was my first referee.
Very
cool. Good referee. Very good referee. I think he's completely out of the business now, but a damn good referee, man. He worked for Byrd. He worked for probably Porter. I don't know, a bunch of them. But yeah, I trained him, man. I mean, and I think he probably knows the answer to this, and I'll go ahead and say it again. Yeah, Shelbyville, Tennessee. Chris Champion did not like the little gold record gimmick that I had going on or whatever. And he said, I want you to come up with something different. And Shelbyville's dressing room was honestly like a little junkyard. There was everything back there, from spray paint to tampons to fucking hubcaps. And we found a hubcap.
Tampons?
No, not used.
Okay,
ones,
thank
boxes,
God.
just different shit. It's like a flea market back there.
Okay.
But yeah, we found a hubcap, and we're like, all right. In the idea in, I think, both of our heads, me and Jamie, was Flavor Flav. I don't know. Maybe Jamie didn't think of Flavor Flav. I don't know. He claims that it was all my idea and all that kind of stuff as far as the gimmick and stuff. But
right.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, clock, you know, around the neck, Flavor Flav, you know, let's hang this hubcap around our neck type deal. And there was honestly a can of red spray paint and a hubcap back there, and we spray painted PG on it. I don't think we put 13. I think we just put PG on it, the first hubcap, and tied a rope around it, not a chain like we had eventually. But yeah, that's how we ended up getting the hubcap, and it was just different. And I think and I said this at the very beginning of that speech. You're right, man. The hubcap got us a job. I believe the gimmick did too, but the hubcap was very predominant in that, and it really was.
Yeah. How many, just off the top of your head, Jimmy Street from Mooresville, North Carolina asks, how many do you think you've gone through your career? Just a guess. A guess. Like 50? An absolute ton. 100?
I had a guy, I can't remember his last name, but his name was Terry. He knew my mom somewhere in Tennessee around Lewisburg. I'm sorry if he's listening. I can't remember your last name, but he used to make them for me and send them to me. That's awesome. Put different stuff on them and things like this. And the funny thing about the hubcap, and may have told this before though, is people that did not know how to use the hubcap, man, they paid for it. And I think it was Danny Davis that taught us, don't let nobody use your gimmick. That's your gimmick. Don't let nobody, you know, because the heels would always be like, hey, then at the end, how about we get your hood? No. Let me stop you right there. You're not touching the fucking hubcap. Unless it was somebody, you know, like up, that, and it made sense or whatever. But everybody always wanted to, hey, we'll grab your hood. No, you're not grabbing my hubcap. And if you put your hands on it, I'm going to fucking punch you.
And you're doing your Tommy Rich impersonation. Why? No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, man, it would cut people up, man, because the ones we used were not plastic. They were the old school ones. And if you don't know how to hold it, you're going to slice your fingers up. Me and Jamie learned that the hard ways.
Yeah.
The hard way. And, yeah, it would cut your fingers up. I remember 1, 2, 3 Kid, the night that me and him had that match that I talked about, that I wish I had it on tape. He had to hit me with it. It sliced his finger damn near off. And Jerry Jarrett cussed us because, we done injured a WWE guy. And I'm like, well, I tried to tell him how to use it. You know, that's kind of where we were. But
right.
Anyway, yeah, so that's where the hubcap came from, and don't touch my gimmick.
Don't touch my gimmick.
Yeah.
Many ways can that be used.
Yeah, for sure.
No, man, but seriously, no. I mean, it's just synonymous, right? The hubcap with PG-13, and
for sure.
It was such a part of your. I mean, it was the third member, really, if you think.
And that first move that we did on Memphis TV was called the hip hop drop. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
And then I think there was a team in WWE, some years later that called their move the hip hop drop. So
wonder where they got that from, man. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe we need to do a whole episode and just get a bunch of heat with everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But
we've got the heat we deserve.
We got the heat we deserve. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's all I got. Hubcap was it, bro. Thank you.
Cool, man. Great episode. Thanks to David Haskins. His history with Marcus Dupree. I mean,
I know. Yeah.
Brother's got it going on. Sounds like he's doing good for himself. Love it, man. I love it. So next week should be a good show too. Got a surprise for you. This is another one that is a Memphis connected person. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I love it. Can't wait.
Y'all tune in, listen to us next week, and we appreciate you.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Sheik, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon Podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon Podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon Podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com, and to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to USWApodcast.com.
Hey, it's the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze. Now I'm inviting all of y'all to join me on my brand new podcast, Turning Up the Heat with the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze. What are you waiting for? Come on over and join me. I'll be covering all the events of the day, global, national, pop culture, movies, gaming, whatever sounds interesting. But I'll also be playing some awesome skating shuffle music from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Anything that has a good beat, I'm going to be playing it. You can rest assured. Come on over, TUTHradio.com. The podcast is on every major podcast platform. See you then.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at WarrenWolf13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at James Rock Street on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
I got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. He got a cap for your dome. And here we go. The original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color. Bum rush your mother, utilize a hubcap, unlike any other. Back in the day, I was N-O-D, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired of suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are without me name dropping. Wrestling's first white boy coming out hip hop. Been doing it like this since 92. Laid low for a while and you thought I was through. Listen real close to these rhymes that I've injected. This shit's so sick it makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking, there is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more folks than Obi-Wan or Vader. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You sucker step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. With my finish, I'll straight knock you out. Please allow me to tell you what it's all about. I'm gonna wind it up, then I'm driving it home. It's Wolfie D, baby. I got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome.
This has been a James Rock Street production.